So this guy apparently volunteered at a cancer hospital, which is a pretty damn good thing from the get go, and he got thrown out, I think.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I just wanted to check in with you and have a little talk and thank everyone who has recently subscribed. So, for everyone who has recently joined the channel, thank you very much for coming to hang out. And I really appreciate that you are here. Thank you for your support. Today, I just wanted to talk about what's up with my channel and what I'm doing online. I know a lot of people have seen some of my speeches that I've done recently at industry level for the game industry. And
Okay, so he does speeches for the game industry. What can go wrong in this very, what you call it, is a very turbulent time for the gaming industry? What can go wrong?
I just want to let you know I don't like doing those. That is not something that I really want to do. I just want to make video games. I want to make cool things for people. I want to make fun games. And in
That
between
sounds
that,
nice.
while I'm making my games, maybe I'll make some fun and interesting videos here and there for people to have a laugh
Yeah,
at.
that's nice.
I don't like doing industry speeches because we are addressing topics that can be quite difficult to address, and it will earn me enemies.
Well, anytime you say your opinion in any shape, form, you will, to some degree, get enemies. And the reason why I'm saying this is if you are on the left side, right side people often will not like you. If you're on the right side, left side people often will not like you. There is like if you say I don't like spring, they'll be like, "Oh, but spring is the best." And then of course there'll be people that just take it too far and start disliking you for no reason. It's almost like it's not allowed to be friends with people that don't have the same opinion as you anymore. And it's a shame because we used to be able to have friends from all over that had different opinions and different viewpoints on life, but apparently we can't do that no more.
And I understand that and I've accepted that. So, why I don't want to do these speeches is that unfortunately there is negativity involved in what you have to say. But when someone does something wrong, you have to point it out.
Yes, completely agree.
And if you don't, things can snowball out of control into
Yes,
catastrophic levels.
100%.
I don't want to do these speeches and I don't need to do these speeches. I don't care about the clicks or the views, but I'm doing this
For
not
the video
because I
games?
want to or need to, but because I choose to. And I choose to stick up for gamers and developers who feel like they are not being heard, that their voices are being ignored by the games industry.
Yes, because recently you have Sweet Baby Inc. and you have all these goddamn woke companies that go in and they ruined Concord, for example. Concord, if you don't know what it is, was a first-person shooter, kind of like Overwatch, and all the characters were overweight or ugly or things that you can't really cosplay or want to cosplay. It's like if you go to any convention, you'll see a Mercy or Widowmaker or any of these characters from Overwatch. But there's a reason why they're beloved because they have good characters, because they look good or interesting at least. So like Reaper isn't a good looking guy, but it looks cool. So people want to cosplay it. And Concord, for example, had just a bunch of pretty much fat lesbian type of characters. And yeah, it's nice to maybe have one of them, but if everybody's like that, like what's for the girls that want to look cute and play? What's the healer girls who want to play those particular characters?
And so that is why I'm doing these industry speeches. I am a solo developer. I run my own studio. I make my own games. I make exactly what I want, for better or worse, even if I don't have a huge audience, even if my games don't have mass appeal, that's all right by me. I like to explore sometimes weird ideas. Sometimes they don't always land, but I'm having a lot of fun with what I'm making. All my passion
That's
and heart
lovely.
goes into what I make, and I'm able to make games that people can enjoy. So, for everyone that
Good.
has been enjoying my games and has appreciated what I've done, I am so grateful to you guys for enjoying my games and supporting me. In the past, I've worked in the photography and the photo marketing industry, and I saw the industry and its giants rise, and I saw them fall. I saw all of the elements that went into a catastrophic failure for those industries. And at that point, I was working with industry veterans and I was new. They threw me into the deep end to see if I would sink or swim. They wanted to see what I would do in a professional environment, and I learned from the very best. And unfortunately, I lacked the experience, the wisdom, and the confidence to do anything about the things that I saw going wrong.
Again, it's very difficult if you're new in an industry and you come into, for example, a company. Let's say you're a new lawyer. Let's use an example that most people would understand. And you're seeing a lot of shady dealings or things that shouldn't have been done properly and haven't been done properly. What are you going to do as a new lawyer? Like, are you going to attack the status quo? It's very difficult. Not only that, but your job's hanging in a thin thread. They can always find a new lawyer pretty easily. So what do? You either suck it up or you speak out and you most likely lose your job. And when you're new and you need all the experience you can get, it's not the same as having 10 years of experience and you can talk out and you'll be like, ah, fuck you, I'll find a new company. It's not at all that simple. Especially if you're in, for example, the job of your dreams. Let's say you wanted to work at Blizzard. Let's say you wanted to work at, Activision Blizzard is now the same, but like, let's say you wanted to work at, I don't know, any developer really, like Square Enix, doesn't matter. The point is, if you're there and you speak out against inequalities in that sense or things that are being done unfairly, suddenly you lose your job and then you lost your dream job.
So what happened in the photography and photo marketing industry is people exactly like Kathleen Kennedy came into CEO roles and upper management, and they destroyed everything. And
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it at the time. I didn't have enough experience and insight. And I understand now that this movement that we have been seeing over the past few years that they call feminism is not feminism.
No.
The only thing that I can describe it is neo-feminism.
It's
It
supremacy.
is not about equality. It is about superiority.
Yes.
And I will get back to that.
100%. It's about being superior. It's not about being equal. That's the biggest problem right now. So when you are out there and you are saying you're a feminist, men will not see it. And I'm talking from men's perspective. So if you're trying to argue with me here, at least listen. Men will not see feminism as a positive because every time we hear feminism, it's always somebody who's attacking you or telling you that you're lesser or telling you that you can't do it or saying, oh, we're feminists, therefore we'll make a whole woman's area or a whole woman's grant. But you can't actually fucking get that as a man, but only that for women. And then men, we get the scraps now. So it's a very it's a new feminism wave, and it's very, very scary because I always talk about a pendulum, and the pendulum swings the other way. Because there's so much hate towards men, there's going to end up with hate towards women, and that's going to be very scary.
That topic later on in the video. But basically, these people enter spaces where they don't really have actual interest in.
Yes.
They just want control and a sense of power. And they want people who echo the same ideological and political views and agendas as them, people that will echo them. They'll tear down anyone who doesn't agree with them and put in those people, even if those people are ill-suited to the roles in which they are working. And people like Kathleen Kennedy destroyed the photography and the photo marketing industry. I watched companies that seemed like they were too big to fail be utterly destroyed by people who came in not because they cared about the work, not because they cared about the industry. They didn't care about the consumer or the end product. They only cared about their own ego and taking control and assuming power. And that will destroy industries. And that is why I'm speaking up for the games industry, because what I watched firsthand right in front of me happen to photography companies and in the photo marketing industry, that is happening right now in the games industry. And I can clearly see with my own eyes, I can very clearly see it. We're going to have a disaster on our hands in the game industry. But I know that there is still time. If we all work together, we absolutely can put the ship back on the right direction.
The problem with putting the ship back in the right direction is that you have to fight this type of power. And if you fight this type of power, what's going to happen is that you're going to be called a misogynist. And the problem with that is You got to be okay being called a misogynist. You got to be okay being called a woman hater. You got to be okay with all the hate you're gonna get. And if you're okay with that, you need some sort of leader, some sort of person that can push people in the right direction here. And that is a very scary position to take, because if you fail, well, let's say you're probably not going to get much work in that industry unless you get somebody who respects you, like you. I respect what you try to do.
So, with my games, they all have been quite small over the past years, and I appreciate everyone who's been understanding and been supporting and cheering on my games. Lately, I've just been planning and working on very small games, stuff that I can make in a short amount of time and that I can ship so I can keep paying my bills. Generally, I try to aim probably more than what I'm currently capable of, but that is part of my personal endeavor to continue pushing myself, to keep improving,
Yeah,
to keep
that's a
getting
good
better,
one.
and to make better games than I did previously. I just want to keep improving. But lately, my games have been quite small. I don't talk a lot about my personal life because that's not really why we're here. So the reason why a lot of my games, or all my games, are quite small right now is over the past year, I've been volunteering at a local cancer hospital. And I've been playing music. I've been going to the hospital with a fiddle, and I sit in the sort of the public area and I just play, traditional music, just something that's easy to listen to, something calming.
That's incredibly sweet. Like, if I was a sick child and I had I was gonna say a fiddler. That's a bad joke, guys. Bad joke. But a person coming in to be a bard, I'd be so happy if I was losing all my hair and I'm weak and all I'm doing is, yay, music, yeah, he's singing fun songs. How sweet is that? That's the most lovely thing. Honestly, some of these super nerds are such incredible sweet guys.
Something to cheer people up.
Yes.
And the staff come to me throughout the day and they're so grateful that at least I was able to brighten up their day even a little bit. People that are receiving treatments will often come down from their rooms to listen, and they'll thank me for, sharing some music with them. And friends and family who are visiting and supporting their loved ones going through treatments have thanked me for that. And I don't receive any money for that. I don't brag about it. And
Which is even more
I do
respectable.
it because I understand what it feels like to stare down the barrel of a gun that's aimed at someone else, and you feel utterly powerless and helpless to help someone. One thing that I find as I grow older and older is I feel increasingly frustrated understanding how little I can actually do for other people. I wish that there was more that I could do to help people. I wish there was something I could do to make people's lives better.
I actually quite like this guy. I've never seen him before, but I quite like him because you see him now genuinely emotional about this and he really wants to help people. And those people, we need to take care of them. We need to take care of them because every single time you break down a person like this, the world gets a little darker. Every single time. So fucking stop thinking that you have some superiority over them and just let them play their bard-like tendencies and have fun. Because you're going to dim the world just a little bit.
And the older you get, the more you realize how little you are capable of when it comes to that. And so this is something that I can do. Yes, it takes a certain amount of time away from my work schedule. It takes a certain amount of my focus away. I should be entirely focused on my work, on my career, on advancing my studio and making more games. But I've chosen this. I have chosen to spend time at the cancer hospital because even if it's just a little bit, at least I can help someone see that there is hope,
Light.
that there can be light at the end of the tunnel. And we all know how these things go.
They go really horribly. And if there's no light, people just sit there in the dark. So sometimes you need a little bit of a torch to show you that there is some beauty and humanity and incredible things around. And you see that it's really hurting him. Which pisses me off even more because I know that it's gonna be some fucking shit that he got thrown out because somebody saw one of his videos that he was against wokeness in video games and stuff. And that is, if this is the case, my aggression levels get up. Like it's like this man has done nothing to do any harm to any of these children. All of them seem to like him. All of the parents seem to like him. All of the people that come in to the visitors seem to like him. So what is the problem?
Cancer treatments don't always work out. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And it's
This
the
is
fear
true.
of not knowing. It's wondering if you're ever going to get to see your loved ones again. It's knowing that they probably only have until the end of the year. And it breaks my heart that people that live on Twitter that don't spend any time in the real world, that are now infesting all these different industries like movies and TV and video games.
Do not get me started on movies, because I work as an actor. I love video games. So let's say story for me is the most important thing, right? And they are ruining every single story. You see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It looks shit. They CGI'd the dwarves because they didn't want to have little people in there. They messed up Rachel Zegler. They had an ugly Snow White. The whole point of Snow White is that she's so fair, she's so beautiful, and the witch is jealous of that. The queen is jealous of that. And now you're seeing that they want to have there's no man here, there's nothing, there's these things. Just make your own shitty story. Oh, wait, nobody's gonna watch it without the Snow White and the 7 CGIs.
They don't have this kind of understanding of the world. They don't have compassion for other people.
They have no understanding of the world. That's the
All
problem.
they care about is themselves and forcing their political views on people. And then they cry and get angry when there's any sort of criticism. And there's no room for them to gain any understanding, any improvement as a person, to become a better human being. They've closed themselves off to that, and it just breaks my heart. Because one day they will be in a position in their lives where they'll need
for other people
that experience and those skills to be able to handle what's coming their way, and they won't have that. And so I just want to share with you my personal frustration, and that I've lost my opportunity to volunteer at the cancer hospital. And the reason why I've lost that opportunity is because people from that woke community, the neo-feminists, who do not care about anything but taking control at all costs. They want control, they want power, they want to tear down men. They entered the arrangement at the hospital, and they wanted to have a tight control over everything. And anyone who did not bend the knee, they bullied and pushed out. And so I had been volunteering at the cancer hospital for about a year. And then
not only that, but this man has been there for a year. A year. We're not talking about somebody who just came in and started spewing anti-feminism. We're talking about somebody who's made people happy for a year. A whole year. And then he's being thrown out. And everybody is suffering for 1 or 2 or 3 people's political and personal views. This is when you are seeing this ideology doesn't work. Because if I don't like somebody, but they're doing an incredibly good job, and people love them, and I don't have to like them, but I can respect what they're doing. That's how it works. You don't like him and his political views, but he made the entire hospital brighter. So you threw him out for your own pleasure.
And these woke neo-feminists came in and assumed control and exerted their power in a way that made the environment unpleasant and unmanageable. And so I was pushed out of that environment because I would not bend the knee to these neo-feminists who the internet would describe as woke. But it's more than just woke. It's neo-feminism, and it's not about them fighting for equality. It's them fighting for superiority and control. They don't care about the damage that they cause to the world around them. And I am upset, not for myself, but for the people that I was able to help even a little bit, to bring a little bit of brightness to their day. I no longer can do that in that environment.
The worst part is he's almost crying. I hope you guys are happy with yourselves. They probably are. They're probably sitting in their Lexus right now, feeling so smug that they got to do whatever they wanted. It's very dangerous.
The other day, I had a disturbing conversation with a lady whom I previously had a lot of respect for. And I was explaining my views that all people are equal. It doesn't matter what your gender is, it doesn't matter
Yep,
what you call yourself with your pronouns.
fair
Everyone is
enough.
equal. Everyone should have an equal opportunity in the workplace. And she laughed in my face and she said, "Well, you're wrong." And I was shocked. I thought she was joking, so I froze. And I said, "Excuse me?" I said, everyone is equal. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female, if you're the right person for the job,
I agree.
you should have that job. And she laughed and said, "You're wrong." And she said her reasoning is for too long, men have been in control and we need to fix it. And by saying we need to fix it, that means you are saying that something is broken.
It's not okay that you have the same opportunities. It's that you want the superiority, as he said before. He actually did put it pretty nicely just a few sentences ago. It's not about equality, it's about superiority. And when somebody has the audacity to laugh in your face when you're saying something, I would say pretty damn good. Hey, we're all the same. I think the best person for the job should get the job. For example, if that was a woman or if that was a man. The doctor that's supposed to be operating on people's breast tissue should probably be the one who's the best at operating at breast tissue. Nah. Nah, I do my own thing. That's all I hear in my head. Nah, I do my own thing. I just cut off some of this and some of this. Yeah, but that's not the right tissue you're gonna cut. Yeah, but I'm a woman, so I'm gonna get the job anyway. I'm not saying that it's that bad. I'm saying that if there's 30 women and 5 men for the job, and the men are have a better resume, the likelihood is that the men will get it. However, if there's 30 men for the job and 5 women, and the women have a better resume, who do you think is going to get that job then? The women. That's just how it is.
I had brought up the topic of how Ubisoft had a mentorship program that explicitly excluded males.
Yes.
And I said,
yes.
how is it fair that young men who want to have opportunities to work in this space, that is being taken away from them? How is it fair that there are now organizations that are funding and companies that are hiring based on gender and excluding males? What am I supposed to tell young men who want to have an equal opportunity to
Make
work
your
in
own
those career
company.
fields? Am I supposed to tell young men that they are inferior to someone else because of the way they were born? Because of their gender, they deserve less opportunities and they are an inferior person. Because that is what this lady was saying. And eventually she just nodded and shrugged and walked away. And that is what we're dealing with here. These neo-feminists that are online, they are not people who care about equality.
No.
They don't care about the damage they're causing. They only care to serve themselves. They want control. They want superiority. They do not want equality. And I've been so disturbed from that conversation because I was utterly disgusted that this was someone that I knew in real life. And that we had this discussion and I said, everyone is equal. And she said, no, you're wrong.
This is going to be a lot more common than you think. It's going to happen to a lot of your friends. A lot of your family members going to think like this. It is not abnormal anymore. Like, it used to be abnormal, but now it isn't. Listen, I have 2 sisters. I have a brother. I can't be on one or the other's particular side. Because when I'm on the side of, for example, women, I would exclude my brother. And if I'm on the side of just men, I would exclude my sisters. I want my sisters to have opportunities. But if they suck and they didn't get the job, that's on them. They didn't work hard enough. If my brother sucked and they didn't get the job, what? What, do I hear that? Oh, do you hear that? Yes, you do. He shouldn't get the job. But if my sisters were great and my brother was great and they're all going for a job and there's 3 jobs there and they all get the jobs, it was not because of the color of their skin or because the gender of which testicular or otherwise you have between your legs. It is about the skill, the competency. It should be.
And this is the mentality that we are harboring and growing on Twitter. And we cannot allow that evil to spread any further because that is what it is.
It's festering
To claim that
in
someone else is
society.
inferior because of their gender, because of the way they were born, is not acceptable. That is evil. And we can no longer abide by that.
Also, saying that for so long, for too long, us women have been put down, and they haven't even been living in that generation. That is wild. That's like the same as the argument, oh, we used to be slaves 300 years ago, therefore we deserve reparations. Yeah, but you're not slaves now. You aren't, and not your grandma, like, not your mom. So why are you still instilled in that memory? In that ideology? You're stuck in it. Because you want to be seen as a victim. That's the problem. You want to be a victim so that you can have a moral superior high ground.
We can't overcorrect, and we can't fight that by saying, oh, women are wrong, women are worse. No. Everyone is equal. There is no argument about that. And I know that by speaking out like this, by creating these industry speeches, I know what the consequences of my actions are. Before I made these speeches, I had to think very carefully, because as a public speaker, as a presenter, I understand the deeper implications of what you say, how you say it, where you say it, and when you say it. And I know that I am receiving personal attacks now. My works that I've created, my games are being attacked. And I know that in the future, I will be review bombed. Anything that
You will.
I
100%.
publish now will be negatively review bombed.
However, the positive about this is that young men will see what you're saying and they will stand by you, stand by your side, try to at least support you to some degree. And this, I think, is very important because being a beacon for those young boys, being a beacon for the young men, not being Andrew Tate, not being Sneeko who just talks about all religion changing and cuckoldry and everything. We need some people here in the game space that can be a role model. And believe me, if you keep going this way, you probably will be the one, or at least one of the ones.
And I will be criticized, and I have accepted that. There's
It's difficult to accept that. There's a strong man to take.
only two things I could have done. I could have kept my mouth shut
Yes.
and done nothing, or I could have spoken up for the developers who are caught in this very unfortunate development in the industry, who do really believe in what they're working on. They really care. They want to make games using their passion and their skills and their art, and they're forced into these really awful situations. And I want to speak up for gamers so that they understand that they have a voice, that they are being heard, and the industry does need to hear this.
They do.
I have accepted the consequences of my action, that there will be negative repercussions for me, and I've accepted that. And that's just how things have to be in order to get the ship back on track. I don't want to keep making these industry speeches, and I don't like making them. So I will only speak when it is absolutely necessary. I will do what the industry needs of me, and it's not because I want to, but it's because it's what is needed of me.
He's completely right. It's not always fun to be. Oh, it's never really fun to be hated unless you're like making loads of money on it. But let's be honest, he's probably gonna get a lot more hate than he's gonna get positives, at least from a public perspective. He's probably gonna have a lot more people agreeing with him in private that doesn't want to speak up. Because let's be honest, if he was this afraid to speak up, if it took this long for him to speak up, do you not think that other people are thinking the same thing? Other people are also afraid of being review bombed or put into a bad situation at work or being fired from work even. So if you're like publicly out here trying to agree with him or publicly out here saying that what he's saying is true, his soapbox is high enough for people to hear, but not for people to shout and agree with in this case. And I agree with what he's doing, and I think he should keep doing it.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care of yourselves. I want my next videos to just be fun, just something fun. I will keep creating the character analysis videos. I think those are a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying hearing from all of you. Take care, everyone. I'm going to enjoy a coffee. Be well.
Be well. Thank you for doing it. I think it's important that somebody's doing it.